Rosanna E. Tufts is a certified handwriting analyst, and graphotherapist available to provide consultations and coaching at Rewrite Your Stars. RewriteYourStars.com. Okay, it's just a guess. All right, let's hear it for Rosanna Tufts and handwriting analysis.
And welcome to Predict Your Success with Handwriting Analysis. My name is Rosanna Tufts, and I am a handwriting analyst and graphotherapist certified by the Handwriting University of Los Angeles, which means that I can predict behavior from a handwriting sample, and I can also coach you in making strategic changes in your own handwriting to program yourself for greater success. Now, would you agree that my buddy Ben Franklin over here was a pretty smart guy? Invented the Franklin stove, the first franchise, paper money, Poor Richard's Almanac. But one thing that most people don't know about him is that he experimented with imitating the handwriting of people that he admired. He figured that if he did this, he could train himself to think like they did. You think he might have been onto something? As accomplished as he was. He actually was experimenting with a rudimentary form of graphotherapy. But now, 200 years later, handwriting analysis has been codified and refined to a point where it is scientifically proven to be 85% accurate as a predictor of behavior. Would you like to know if you have the handwriting traits or can develop them of a successful person? How about if you're hiring someone? Wouldn't it be nice to know ahead of time how they will perform under pressure? And how about if you're in the market for a romantic partner? Let me ask you this. Would you let your daughter date this man? Even to the untrained eye, you can just feel the chaos and intensity. You just know that there's something wrong here. Yes, it's illegible, but exactly why is it illegible? All the lines are running into each other. What does that tell you? Issues with boundaries, perhaps? As in not recognizing that other people have them? Now, this is the scariest handwriting you're ever going to see. Most examples obviously aren't going to be this extreme. However, so I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take the permutations of just one letter, the letter T, which will show you more than any other letter, flip, starting with a person's level of self-esteem. If the T is crossed low on the stem, this is a fear of failure. This is a person who has a hard time believing in himself, even if he's very accomplished. If you cross your T about 2/3 of the way up, which is about where most people would put it, you're practical and down to earth. You plan everything in advance, but you need to see that an action has an immediate tangible benefit to you, or you're not interested. Flip. Does the T cross at or near the top? This is the visionary, good at longer range planning, 5 to 10 years out. High confidence in it and ambition. And this is one trait that I recommend that most people adopt. Start crossing your T's at the top, practice this for 30 days, and see what happens. Who dreams the impossible dream? The T that floats above the stem, not touching it. This can work, but if a person does not take action toward their dreams, they might lose touch with reality. Flip. How long is the T-bar? Does it cover several other letters? This is enthusiasm, great trait to have if you're in sales or if in any position that requires you to motivate other people. Thomas Edison had it. Flip. T end with a dagger-like point on one end? You might want to correct this one if you see it in your own. Sarcasm is a defense mechanism for the ego. If it points toward the right, it's directed outward at other people. If it points back towards the left, you're directing the sarcasm at yourself. Does the T-bar slope up or down? If it slopes up, this is optimism, always knowing that tomorrow will be better. Flip. If it slopes down, no, that's not depression, it's dominance. No, not the 50 Shades of Grey kind of dominance. This is actually a good trait to have because it shows somebody who can take charge and give orders without making other people angry. King George VI wrote like this. Even in spite of his infamous stammer, he was used to getting other people to do his bidding. If, however, the downward pointing T-bar ends in the dagger point of sarcasm, now you're crossing the line into domineering. Someone who writes like this will resort to verbal abuse to get his way. Flip. Does the T cross mostly to the left of the stem? This is someone who has a hard time getting motivated. Crossed mostly to the right? That's temper. The more you see this in someone's handwriting, the more likely they are to lose control under pressure. Flip. Is the T stem not a stem at all, but a big open loop? This is fear of disapproval. The bigger the loop, the greater the tendency to delusional suspicions. And if it's so big that it's flat on top, that's someone who feels a lot of intense guilt. If you're the boss of somebody who writes like this, you're going to have to give them a lot of hand-holding, constant praise, and reassurance. Flip. Finally, my favorite pair. The T stem that is braced open like a teepee. It literally looks like somebody who is going to defend their position no matter what it costs them. I'm right and don't confuse me with the facts. Contrast this with the T that is shaped like a star, where you're crossing the T without lifting the pen. Excellent trait to have. This is somebody who looks back toward the past, but does not get stuck there. Takes the best from the past and brings it forward to the future. That's the definition of persistence. If you see stubbornness in your own handwriting, this is a trait that I definitely recommend that you change. Get used to forming your stars, your T's, like stars, because between the two of them, stubbornness or persistence, which do you think is going to get you the better deal? Sounds like a no-brainer to me, right? Now, let's go back to your daughter's prospective suitor. Now that you know what to look for, what do we find? Sensitivity is there in the T's, but even more so in the D's, which are also combined with the guilty flat tops. Self-esteem changes by the minute. With loops in the middle of the O's, that secretiveness, there's a good chance that he's hiding something. And with ending strokes that swoop back this far, his past is controlling him. Stinger hooks in the letter C and also the letter A shows you that he has a hard time relating to the opposite sex. He has almost uncontrollable physical drives with huge fat loops in the Y's and G's, some of which are also triangles, which is, yes, it's actually proven to indicate perverse tastes. But the biggest red flag of all, It is riddled with resentment strokes that come up from below the baseline into the letters below the baseline where they don't belong. In short, you couldn't let this man date your daughter even if you wanted to because he's in the Arizona State Prison. Now, as I've been up here, I've been watching you all, and I know what you're thinking. Do I have that? That's the part of the show where the audience entertains me. I'm Rosanna Tufts, and I'm with Rewrite Your Stars, and I am available for consultations in the hiring process, personal development, and romantic matching. Feel free to take some of my brochures, and you can find me online at rewriteyourstars.com and in person here over at the Toastmasters booth. Thank you very much.